Alright, now officially starting again on Ruby after failing it multiple times. We're starting with Acolyte of Flame. Acolyte of Flame is a 2-cost 2/1. I guess you can read it since I'm going to be using this. But yeah, it has Deploy Illuminate 1. This is great. This is a great card. I would play this for 3 mana. Like, right? Like, I played this for 3 mana, right? I guess in Magic. 3 mana, 2-cost 2/1. Anything as crazy as Bride? No. There are good cards, but I don't know. Bride's effect is so, like, super impactful that it's a bit busted. But yeah, Acolyte. I'm pretty sure I've played a 3-cost 2/1 that makes a 1/1 before in Magic. So, yeah. This card's gonna be great. It's like 2 costs for 3/2 worth of stats. At minimum. Oh, actually, no. At minimum, your opponent has a Blight Knight out, and you just get wrecked. But yeah, this is a good card. It's a pretty aggressive 2-drop. It does a lot of work. I don't know if there's anything else to be said. You play this in every deck, honestly. So like the Candlekin deck might not get there as much if you're like playing this in every deck. Like you're drafting it highly in every deck. It's at its worst 2 chump blockers in any Ruby deck, which is just insane. Oh my god. My earbuds. Also, is my stream lagging? Alright. Anyways. Second up is Arcing Rust. Arcing Rust is 2-cost, destroy up to 3 target artifacts. Artifacts probably aren't ultra important in limited, so this probably is not really much of a limited card, but it is way better in constructed, where this actually affects the Sockets deck, because a lot of their best cards are artifacts. I'll get to PSN Envy's question in a sec. But yeah, like you have the Altar of Nulzan, you have Darkheart, you have MC. Like all these cards are really premium hits, and yeah, this hits all of them. It's also incredibly bad for them to strip with a with like Withering Gaze or whatever. So yeah, that's a thing. Alright, so quickly talking about what is the best Shardless card. If you're not including the resources, the best Shardless card is probably Corners of the World for limited, and then nothing. Oh no. Repla Pauper for limited. And then nothing else is exciting that much for constructed. Or nothing in general is like super exciting for constructed out of the Shardless cards. The resources are obviously insane. Riftcore is also fine. For Blood, the most exciting constructed card is probably this Doomed Guardian, or one of the like weird Deathcry cards. Necronettle is a pretty good one. And and then Stalking Quarry is pretty huge. Yeah, but none of the legendaries are like super exciting. And then the best card in Diamond that we've looked at so far, I think, is Seamstress is sweet. And so is like Your Flame Protector's okay. Reconstructed. Yeah, I don't know. Doom Guardian non-bows with everything. Lol. But Doom Guardian is like already a combo with all your death cries. Plus Doom Guardian is a combo with your champ power. Like, it brings back anything that you decided to champ power. Anyways, alright, so back on track with the Ruby review. We have Blitz Boys. Blitz Boys is I mean, it's like a oh, it doesn't give you itself +1/+0 on Swift Strike. So it's like 3 cost 3/2 speed, which is like fair for limited, but kind of mediocre for constructed. But it gives all your gladiator cards +1/+0 on Swift Strike, which makes it like very hard to block. So it helps you like push one attack. It's also a good combo with Torque, but Torque's getting nerfed. Torque now costs 5 charges, which makes it like way worse. It is still good with Torque, don't get me wrong, but like it's just like not as good as it used to be with Torque. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if this sees constructed play. It's definitely fine and limited. Like a 3 cost 3/2 speed is fine. It's not exciting, and like the gladiator bonus makes it really hard to block for a turn, so you might like get an alpha that just like kills them. But that's about it. Like it's a best case scenario thing, and in the general case, it's just not exciting at all. All right. Next one is Bottled Lightning. This card has come up before, right? Like us talking about it. It's I don't know. It's like a win condition in like an actions deck, but it's like not great otherwise. And in fact, it's like not even great in an actions deck. It just has speed. It doesn't have like crush or anything. And like by the time you play this, usually you'll have played like maybe 3 actions at most. So it's honestly only good like really late when you set up for it. Because otherwise you're just going to trade for like 3 2/2s or something. Or not even 3 2/2s. You would just trade for like 1.5 2/2s. When your opponent triple blocks with 2/2s. So it's not like a on-curve play. So I don't think it's very good in Limited. In Constructed, I doubt it. It's going to be just as bad, if not worse, in Constructed. However, now hear me out here. This card is probably great in PvE, where you can actually afford to go stupid things. I don't know. I mean, like, most enabler things are really good in PvE, because you can enable all of them. This is not what you want to be doing, though. Meanwhile, Brightfang Paladin, oh my god, I will play this all the time. When you attack, Illuminate 1. This is so much free Illuminate. Like, sure, the body isn't the best, whatever. Like, I would rather guarantee the Illuminate on my attack than, like, have my body guaranteed survive the combat. Especially if you're, like, trying to enable Candlekin. I think this card is great. I think if you play it on turn 3, you maybe can get 2 Illuminates out of it, especially if you have combat tricks later, too. But yeah, like, oh my god. Illuminate 1 on attack, so good. Ugh. Yeah. At least they made it a 2/3 and not 2/3. I don't know what that means, Djo. Those are the same numbers. No, I know. 3/2 would be way worse, because it would trade with all the 2/1s and 2/2s and whatnot. Like, if you play this and your opponent plays the zombie thing, the Corpse Lily, and then just, like, trades it for your Corpse Lily, or trades their Corpse Lily for your Paladin, that would feel so bad. So yeah, it could potentially get in multiple attacks, especially if you have combat tricks to protect it. Illuminating repetitively is a really strong effect. I don't know how much of each effect there is. Like I would have to do like rarity breakdowns and stuff to figure out like how often you'll do everything. But yeah, I think this will be sweet and limited. I think it's pretty aggressive too. In constructed, no. Like, this is too vulnerable, dies to removal, doesn't even make another body immediately. It, like, isn't that strong of an effect regardless. Like, it is a strong effect, but not that great. Ejo saying Candle's got stupid powerful. I don't even know if I agree with that. Like, you don't have Runic Candescence. At least you don't have as many copies of that, right? And Runic Candescence was an uncommon. And then, like, you don't have Wax Dawns. And Wax Dawns, like, were so important to your ability to, like, play the Candlekin deck. I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to see without, like me doing actual common uncommon breakdowns in like sample packs and stuff. At least for me. Next up is Brutal Brawler. Hey, we actually got more like highest power payoffs. I remember last set, like highest power was a joke archetype. Yeah, but you're not gonna hit it very often. Like that's not how the math works out. Like, you're gonna end up in Candlekin, and you're, like, not very likely to see a Wax on. Anyways. We finally got payoffs for highest power matters. We got Brutal Brawler. Like real payoffs, not just like, oh, I incidentally have highest power matters, so my Call of the Week isn't, like, complete garbage. Like, real payoffs. Like, this. Like, when I have highest power matters, I kill you way faster. Or can even block you way better. So yeah, Brutal Brawler is probably bad if you don't play highest power matters. Like, I don't know if you can guarantee that you have highest power without, like, consistently trying to draft towards it now. Because, like before you would just get highest power matters, like, randomly, but, like, now there are a lot of... If you're not in, like, Ruby Blood, I don't know if you'll have, like, the 4-2s for 3 and stuff. I mean, Gladiator still gets you to highest power. I don't know exactly what the highest power matters, like, cards are gonna break down into and, like, what it's gonna look like. But I suspect that if you can get this to be highest power matters, it's gonna be insane and one of your top performing commons. And if you ever get wrecked and your opponent has highest power matters, this is gonna be atrocious and you're never gonna want it. Candle Crush. Hey, this is like your Flame Lick, but worse. Because it's worse than Flame Lick. Like, Flame Lick guarantees 3 damage, and it guarantees... Yeah, like, Flame Lick, specifically, the guaranteeing 3 damage is huge. Like, and it costing 1 less. This, obviously, looks more like a win condition, because you can, like, end up with more Candlekin and deal more damage, but, like, half the time, the magic number for Candlekin in set 7 was just 3. Yeah, like, this card is too... It's not, like, guaranteed value, it's, like, scaling value. And sometimes you just want guaranteed value, especially on your removal spells. If you're playing this as a, like, win more, like, win the game fast card, I guess that's fine. But it's definitely not like Flame Lick, which is, like solid removal and occasionally a burn to the face. This is more like all in, like, your face kind of removal. Or burn spell, I guess. For constructed, I don't think any of these will ever see constructed play, right? Like the jokey, like, all-in cards. Yeah. Oh, I doubt it. Like, these two... No. Candlelit Cavalry. It's another Candlekin kind of support card. It's a 4-2 crush that essentially overruns your Candlekin. Like, that's fine. It doesn't illuminate, and it doesn't, like, help you with that, and it dies to most removal, so it's, like, kind of unexciting, honestly. It, like, dies to most combat, too. So I'm not a huge fan of this. The 2 defense is, like, for sure awful. Yeah, like I'll end up playing like 1 or 2 in my Candlekin decks, but I don't see me playing this anywhere else. Maybe Highest Power Matters plays this card, but like it's not even good in Highest Power Matters. Because you would rather play like 3-cost 4/2s and stuff. Yeah. Yeah, you'll usually only get like 1 swing. Unless your Candlekin have already gotten there. I feel like this also feels like a win more card. Because it's just, like, not very good otherwise. Unless you're, like, specifically winning. Or kinda neutral-ish. Fire of Lumos is a sweet card. It illuminates a lot. And when you illuminate, this pays you off. This is kind of a win more card. But this is a win more card that, like... No, it's not even a win more card. It just like synergizes with what you're doing. Like this could end up stabilizing you if you've just like sort of like poked around and made a few Candlekin pick by pick. This card's sweet. I think it's really good. I think it'll be a top uncommon. I don't know how much play this will see in Constructed. But yeah, this is a top uncommon if you're in Candles. To be fair, it was wrong to be in Candles in set 7. Like Candles were so, like, low value, and you would get, like, if your opponent ever toppled your momentum with getting Candles, you would just, like, immediately lose the game, because you had a bunch of cards that, like, made 1/1s, and 1/1s were meaningless. Versus if you actually got there and you had like 3 like 4/4s, then you were like solid. Like your Candlekins finally got there and mattered. And then like all your Illuminate cards got even better from there. But if your Illuminate cards never got to the point where you had like 2 or 3 4/4s, then all your Illuminate cards were worthless. So Candlekin was kind of really bad in last set. And I don't know if it's actually any better in this set. I would be worried. Oh, I have a phone call. Give me a sec. Alright, I think I got dialed by accident. It sucks. Because that's going to interrupt this video. Whatever. So yeah. Might see tiny amount of constructed play. If Candlekin... No! You have better cards to be playing. Like, is this better than Waxed On? Like, honestly? Probably not. Alright, Coiling Nebulax. I remember Curtis saying that he really likes this card. I really don't. Like, 100% it trades, like, the first time it, like, attacks. Which means you're playing 4-cost, trade for a random troop, get a rare portal. That's not where I want to be at. I mean, you get in some damage, too. Meh. Constructed. Unlikely. Maybe. No. I don't think this sees any play in Constructed. I think it's just too cute. Like, the effect is just too cute. Smaller Rampaging Tarrasque. Yeah, basically. I think it's just too cute. Confession of Embers. This one is brutal. This is a sweet board wipe that also illuminates 3. So, like, you just, like, smash your opponent's board and then, like, make 3 Candlekin. At worst. And, like, even better than that is that you can just, like, have a bunch of Candlekin and then one-sided board wipe them. As a note, it doesn't actually kill opposing Candlekin, and it doesn't kill opposing Frost forms, which is, like, really bad. Like, don't get me wrong, this is a strong card and a strong effect, but, like, missing your opponent's Frost forms and, like, even some of their, like, other elementals, like, runic, whatever it's called, that made the tutus, the tutu flights for 4, like, just missing those is just, like, so bad. I mean, it's gonna be good in limited. I just don't know if it's gonna be as insane as, like, I think it is right now. In constructed, this is too expensive. Like, you just play Electrify and it's cheaper. And it's better. Unless Electrify is rotating. In which case, you don't play this at all. Just play Massacre. Massacre's way better. Massacre's permanent. This is only, like, damage. Alright, Engorged Gobbler. I don't like this card that much. I know Curtis said that he liked it a lot as a win condition in... Or it was Curtis or 32-Beat who said that they liked it a lot in some kind of, like the equivalent of a McBombus deck, right? Where you just, like, play a bunch of actions and then you just play, like, low-cost 10-10s. My issue with this is your low-cost 10-10s die to the Hero Falls that exist and the casualties of war, right? And, like, I don't want my payoff to die to casualty of war. In limited, how much hard removal is there? What did we see so far? Wrath of Elements is insane against it because you're gonna low cost it. Have some other, like, gross things. You overwhelming guilt it if you aren't dead to the attack. Polar Ferret takes care of it. Because, like, those will very likely be active by the time that you can play it. Like, expensive troops like Polar Ferret. Unravel doesn't work, but Void Star's Gaze, the other removal spell, whatever it's called, Nyctophobia, even though that card isn't very good. What is the other removal spell? Dream's End does it, but that's rare. I don't know. Arcing Venom even does it? You think only about limited? I don't know. I think it's answerable in limited, and that's my problem. Like, there's a Sapphire card that wrecks it too. Like, yeah, I'm not a fan. There's just, like, too much ability to just ruin this in limited that I'm not a huge fan. Flame Barrage. This is one of the 2 Action Matters cards that are actions in the set. Psionic Barrage being the other one. Thankfully, already being shown on my screen. Flame Barrage is great, I think, if you're in an actions deck. While Psionic Barrage is bad, unless you're specifically in mill. Neither of these are really good with Runeweaver Darken, too. And Darken got buffed. So yeah, I mean, it's fun. It's a good removal spell if you're in actions. It's probably an awful one if you're not. Like, if you're not, it's gonna deal, like, 2 damage for 1. And that's, like, fine, but not great. Maybe it's, like, good enough then. If you only have, like, 6 actions and you can guarantee that this is a 1-cost deal 2, basically, that might be fine, honestly. Like, quick. Psionic Barrage is obviously not fine. Like, don't. Not unless you're mill. But, yeah. Maybe Flame Barrage is fine. In Constructed, maybe there'll be a cheesy deck that gets there, like just playing actions and actions. Maybe Control wants this. It is kind of a like sweet removal spell for Control. Yeah, even at its worst, it's like okay. Like if it's deal 1 damage, that's awful. Never play that card. But if it's deal 2 damage, like very okay. Greater Kazaris. Greater Kazaris is a sweet legendary. I don't know how good this is actually in Constructed. But yeah, this is gross. Like, it's such a bad top deck. Yeah, it is a bad top deck. Yeah, maybe with my like top deck rule of my top decks needing to be good, Flame Barrage is a bit worse. But if you can afford to like slow your top decks, I think it's fine. Probably great if you're playing Swamp Butt though. Oh, actually, ooh, it actually works with Darken too. Just like when you play the Runic card the second time, you get to up your Flame Barrage count. Obviously, it's not good to like use with Darken's ability, but it is good with Darken kinda. All right, Kazaris. This is a strong card, I think. In limited, this is like an insane bomb. It's like above curve for its stats. It generates card advantage at the end of your turn, which means they need quick removal to stop you from netting your 0.7 of a card or whatever. And yeah, I think it's insane. I think that's easy. For Constructed, it's a bit slow. There's a lot more quick removal that'll actually kill it. It might be okay as a one-of because it costs so much, but yeah. Definitely a limited bomb. Alright, Incensed Igniter. This is the payoff for Candlekin. Oh my god, you gain a charge for each elemental you control, which means you'll gain like a billion charges to illuminate again, and then this gets +1/+1 for each elemental you control. Oh my god, this is such a good payoff for Candlekin. You could even be like Ruby Diamond or Ruby Sapphire, like Frost form. And just like play this as a giant win condition. I think this card is great. I think this is a top tier like 5-drop in Ruby. I think it's a top tier uncommon, and that you would be willing to play 5-drops like this. In Constructed, it's obviously a whole different beast. In Constructed, what if this is a 5-cost, 6/6, gain 3 charges? Is that good? Because usually with a Candlekin deck, you like end up making like 3 Candlekin. Sometimes 4. Is that good? Is gaining you 4 charges even good? That's not like even worth a card. So it's just like a giant fatty in Constructed. Is that good? I don't think so. Alright, I'm gonna say will not see non-rock Constructed play. Maybe it sees rock play though. Actually, is playing Haraza with Candlekin a thing? Where you like play this to get the Haraza power? Maybe. That's kind of fun. Alright. Next up we have Liberated Berserker. I hate this card. I don't like momentum cards that are not good unless you hit momentum curve by curve. Yeah, it's like an awful top deck. You need to hit resources for this to be good. Its Deathcry is only good if you hit resources, or if you play the Blood Deathcry card, the Blood Pump spell that like triggers Deathcry, right? What's it called? Nightbloom. If you like Nightbloom this and gain 4 charges, that's kind of sweet. If the momentum was Rage, I think everyone would be on this card. Like easy money. No, maybe not. Like, momentum giving defense is pretty big. But yeah, like, it's not that exciting. Definitely a lot better if you have Night Blossom, though. If you, like, go land, I don't know what the momentum count would be at that point. But you go like land into Night Blossom, and it just goes like, oh, I gain like 9 charges. Activate my champ power. I guess you're in Blood Ruby, so what champ powers do you got? You got +2 attack to 2 troops. Easy. Pump up your Liberated Berserker. Draw or gain even more charges. Not that that's valuable or anything. I don't know. Maybe you could play it as a cheesy charge gain card. That's about it. Constructed, it's probably better because you're more in Constructed, you maybe more rely on like getting there. But yeah, it doesn't seem great. Maybe you play it in Haraza. I don't know. I doubt it. But yeah. Light 'em up. Light 'em up is sweet. Illuminate 1 when you deal non-combat damage to an opposing champion. If this is in your crypt, put it into your hand. Oh my god. Do we still have... Oh my god. Wait. This works with Nightfalls, doesn't it? Oh my god, this is so sweet. You go like, light 'em up with a Nightfall on board, and you just like every turn get to light them up one more time. Oh my god, this is actually sweet. This is I think one of the sweetest enablers in this set. It does so many different things. In Constructed, it might get there. I think, I don't know. Maybe there's like some kind of sweet direct damage. It works in so many decks. You can play this in Swamp Butt. You can play this in like even Ruby Blood decks with Nightfalls. You could play this, or like ways to make Nightfalls and stuff. You could play this with like pingers. You can play this with so many different things. Oh my god, this light 'em up is sweet. I think that same sweetness also carries over into Constructed. I'm sure there's some kind of sweet thing that you could do with this in Constructed. It might not be good enough, but it would be sweet. So yeah, I think Light 'em Up is a card to look out for. Livewire Lasher. Hey, it's a momentum card that's only good if you hit momentum. And it's actually awful if you ever miss on momentum, because it has to attack. No thanks. I'm gonna say skip this one. Always. Even if you're aggressive, you don't want this. Because, like, maybe... No, if you're, like, super aggressive, I guess you want this. But, like, general aggression doesn't want this. Like, if you're, like, kind of a mid-rangey deck, you're never going to want this. If you're control, obviously it's awful. So you have to be, like, all-in aggro to want this. In that small sliver of space, this is a good card. Be sure you're in that space when you take this. So this is a low pick uncommon, because you need to be in that sliver of space. Unless the format is super aggressive, then you just take this. Marsh Pit's Troll. When this deals combat damage to a champion, choose up to 1 card in your hand and transform it into a Swamp Gas. So, like... Oh, hey, thanks for the host. Now that that's going to show up on the video, too. Cool beans. Probably have taken that off. My, host thing. Alerts. Alright, alerts are now off, too. Marshpit's Troll... Yeah, it's sweet. I think if it trades, it's, like, less exciting. And, like, Swamp Gases aren't insane or anything. They're just, like, good. So, like, it's probably fine. It's probably a middling to high pick uncommon, but it is not, like... It's not like, I'm gonna pick this every time because it's better than everything else, because there's not that many X1s, right? Or at least people aren't going to play that many X1s unless they're playing like mono Acolytes of Flame. It's good late game if you're flooding, sure, but like that's only if you can attack in while flooding, which is like not a thing that usually happens. I think it's good if you're like in the mid game and you can still like push in some damage with it, but like also you're starting to flood, and just like transforming your shards into swamp gas is good. I think that's when you want it. I mean, I guess it's also like an action enabler for the action payoffs, but I don't know what action payoffs there are anymore. Because before we had Kindler, we had the Gladiator one, and we had the what's the other one? Gladiator, and then Eldritch Thunderbird. So yeah, I think it's a middling uncommon. Master Runefuser is hilariously fun. This is another super fun card. Are all the super fun cards in Ruby? Deploy, summon a copy of each rune. When a rune enters play under your control, create a rune fusion. So if you have any runes when you play this, you get a bunch of rune fusions, and then whenever you play a runic card, you get a rune fusion, and your rune fusions make runic cards, so you get more rune fusions. For card advantage. Rune fusions are slow and janky. Don't get me wrong. Probably not the most insane thing. But, yeah, it is a 4-cost 4/4, which is sweet. It is, like, not bad stats, and it has, like, sweet synergies. Oh, 4-cost cards? Yeah. Yeah, and then, wow, it has really weird typing. It's a Robot Dwarf Mage. For those of you who care about tribals. I don't know how this will work out, but maybe it'll be a sweet tribal thing. But yeah. It definitely lets you go late game. It's definitely like a brutal late game card in limited, because you're just gonna be able to like if you have any number of runes, you're just gonna be able to like outgrind them by like rune fusioning every freaking turn, and then going like, play my rune fusion card, play another rune fusion, play my rune fusion card. So you like draw more cards than your opponent, which is really strong. Yeah, I don't know. If you don't have runes, like, it's a 4-cost 4/4, which is not awful. It's just not great. In Constructed, I remember this is not so great in Constructed. It's a bit cheesy. And, like, you're much more likely to get there with other cards in Constructed. Yeah, Rune Fusions create Rune Fusions, which is, like, insane. Alright. Novaxod. How does this work with Runebind? I think if Runebind targets it on the chain, you get a Rune Fusion. But if Runebind target, or not it, but like a spell that you have. If Runebind targets a spell that you have on the chain, it'll come in as a rune, and then you'll get a Rune Fusion. But if Runebind targets something that's already on the board, it becomes a rune, and it's not entering play, so you won't get a Rune Fusion. At least that's how it should work in my mind. Alright, next up is Novaxod. Novaxod is a highest power matter card, so sweet, and it has Rage enabling itself. And if you have a troop with the highest, or tied for the highest, this gets an uncommon portal, so... Oh. Does it copy cards that have been hit by Runebind, so you copy your card? Yes. So if there is, like, say your opponent runebound a, like, Consult the Talons, and then you play Master Rune Fusion, now you will have 2 runes for Consult the Talons. I assume. At least it should work that way. If it doesn't, they'll just be runes, and that'll really suck. But yeah, Novaxod. We had a similar card to it and it was just too slow? I believe it. Novaxod might be too slow, but imagine not needing like if you just play this as a 4-cost 1/4 that draws a card and then like attacks as a 3/4, I think that's fine. Because if you're already in the highest power matters deck, like, this is going to draw you your 0.7 of a card or whatever, right? And that's all you need it to do. And then, yeah, I think I take this kind of highly. I think it's a pretty good card. I mean, like, it triggering itself might be too slow, but I think it is very easy for you to have the troop with the highest or tied for the highest attack. So it just, like, drawing a card immediately is pretty easy and strong. Alright, Off the Chain. This is the combat trick for all of us aggro players. Target troop you control gets +3/+0 and crush this turn. If that troop has Gladiator, it gets Swift Strike. Holy crap. Off the Chain is off the chain. Like, +3/+0 and crush. Like, getting crush onto your troop was such a huge thing, because you'll usually end up with, like, bigger troops, and they'll get, like, chump blocked by Dumb Candlekin or something. Plus, oh, Bruising Battler was just, like, an X2 or an X3, right? Like, it wasn't good for its stats, and it, like, didn't draw a card, right? Anyways, Off the Chain, if it has Gladiator, it gets Swift Strike. That is huge. So huge. Like, this is a great combat trick. If you have Swift Strike, it's already great. If you have Gladiator, you get Swift Strike, and it's even greater. And it gives Crush. Oh, it was the same, but just, like, not this, like, extra bonus value. I think the bonus value is a lot. Anyways, Off the Chain is sweet. This is the top... This is, like, one of the best tricks that you could be playing. Alright, next up is Portalscape. Portalscape is the Ruby escalation card. It creates a rare portal and puts it into your hand, and it's quick, and it's 3 cost. So this is like, what is that card called? The 3 cost draw card? Yeah, Off the Chain is common. Portalscape is like the 3 cost draw card in Ruby, except that instead of drawing a card, you make a portal, which means, like, you can't hit resources, right? But you hit portals, and those are like 0.7 of a card. I think Portalscape is better than 3 cost draw card. Magus of the Bounty, yeah. I think this is better than Magus of the Bounty in Limited. It is, like, you are much more likely to get more value out of this, getting a rare portal, than you are from Magus of the Bounty drawing you a single card for 3. And if you ever hit this twice, this is insane. Bounty of the Magus, you're right. Meanwhile, if you hit Bounty of the Magus the second time, it becomes Divination, which is, like, not great. You finally, like, made your value. While this trades for, like, better than itself, because it trades for a random rare that you can wait until it becomes a good rare, right? I think Portalscape is way better than Bounty of the Magus. And I think you would take it almost all the time. I think this card is the best. Not the best, but, you know, like, really, really sweet. Alright, up next... Oh, in Constructed... I don't know. It's like a Bounty of the Magus for decks that don't want to be playing Bounty of the Magus. I don't know what that means, honestly, but it is a Bounty of the Magus for decks that don't want Bounty of the Magus. I suspect that, like, a Ruby Sapphire control deck could end up playing this. Won't see play, cost 3, Bounty of the Magus cost 3. You don't think it works in Constructed, sadly? Bounty of the Magus works in Constructed? Kinda. Like, people were considering it, people were playing Bounty of the Magus in control decks. This is like a awkward, aggressive, not really for control Bounty of the Magus. Portalscape seems bad in everything. Bounty draws from your deck, but you don't want this to draw from your deck. Especially in Limited. In Constructed, maybe you do. But your deck is always better than random in Constructed, I guess. Yeah, but then you can bounty more bounties. What if I Portalscape another Portalscape 32-beat? What do you do then? My Portalscape will become another Portalscape. It'll escalate my other Portalscape that's already in my deck. And then next time I draw it, it'll be a random card. A random rare. So it won't be another bounty. And it'll be even better. No. I'm sure that, like, Bounty's better in Constructed. But in Limited, I think Portalscape is much better than Bounty. Although Bounty was unplayable in Limited. And I think Portalscape is kind of playable in Limited. It's like a conscript. It's like a conscript. I think 3-cost conscript something is really strong. Anyways, we're gonna continue. We got Quenchinator. So 32-beat alerted me to the fact that this can gain charges. So it is a playable card in Haraza. That's sweet, by the way. I don't know how it's getting in, but yeah, that's kind of sweet. In Limited, I mean, you might give it like Flight Swift Strike so that it can actually get in, and then it'll give a random troop in your hand Flight Swift Strike. Or if you think that you can get in consistently, you could play this with like the wild gem that like what is it? The wild gem that makes it bigger? No. The one that makes a random troop and then like hit them, make your random troop, make a random troop. And like chain off in value or whatever. That actually doesn't sound that great. Alright, I think you expect that this would be best in Ruby Diamond in Constructed or in Limited because you end up with like 2 Flight Swift Strike troops, which is like really strong. But in Limited or in Constructed, this is probably gaining charges or something, and yeah, other dumb things. Double damage plus Elk. Elk isn't in the format. Even without the one-shot, it's a decent card. Yeah, it's a 3-cost 2/3 or 2/2 Gladiator 1 with a major socket. That's like fine. The one-shot is like, I think in Limited, the one-shot is what you're aiming to do to make it like really strong. I think this is a pretty strong card. Yeah, I'm pretty sure because of the major socket that this is a pretty strong card. Alright. Up next is Return to Cinder. Hey look, it's a removal spell. It's a removal spell. It voids troops. This is pretty good and constructed for stopping like buying back your troops and stuff, and also death cries. In Limited, this also stops death cries. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like the real question is whether or not this hits enough troops to be great. And it probably does. So you probably want it all the time. This is probably a top tier common. But I don't know. Maybe the format's going to be all about like X3s. And in the situation where the format is all about X3s, this card is not going to be great. Not that I know. I think the format's going to be about X2s and X1s. But there are some good X3s that are really good. Like Peddler and stuff. And Scuttlecrux. This is Burn Plus, but it's not. Burn goes to the face. It is 100% going to see constructed play. But it would be more popular if, I don't know. You give up hitting the face for void. Yeah. Some decks want to hit the face. I'm pretty sure most likely you would want to Void, though, in Hex, because there's a lot more, like, recursion and, like, Deathcry things than are in Magic, usually. So, like, doing this is much stronger in Hex than it is in Magic. I don't know. Maybe it just doesn't hit damage thresholds for limited, but in constructed, for sure it'll see some play. I don't know about Rock. In Rock, I don't know at all because there's not really Deathcry decks in Rock. Next up, we have Runic Eruption. In my pre-show, we talked about this, and I was really disappointed because this is probably much worse than Runic Decay. Like, and not because Runic Decay has Life Drain or anything. This is probably worse than Runic Decay because it's not quick. I think a lot of people are overestimating, like, how much Deathcry, like, how significant the Deathcry is in the set. Like, it exists, don't get me wrong, but it's not like, oh my god, I can't possibly play other kinds of removal that don't void the troop, right? Anyways, Runic Eruption is sweet. It does 2 damage to 2 target champions or troops, which means you probably kill some, like, smaller things and shock your opponent's face. Unfortunately, it's not really, like, that good of removal at 4, and the Runic isn't, like, insane or anything. I don't know. It really depends on how the format shapes up. And another huge issue is that it's really bad against momentum and whatever it's called. Momentum and Gladiator, because it can only be used on your turn when they have extra defense, unless you can get resources on your opponent's turn at quick speed. So yeah, it's probably fine. I don't think it's a high tier uncommon. Does it hit you and opponent? If you have no other targets, it will deal 2 to both you and your opponent. Sure. Runic Passion is Impulse, but for 1 more resource. I played a lot of Impulse, but that was in Swamp Butt. And then it also has Runic. The Runic side makes it a lot stronger because it's free, but even the first use in a Swamp Butt deck could be pretty strong. So I think Runic Passion is pretty good and limited, especially because Impulse is, like, pretty good and limited. Pretty decent, I guess. Maybe it's not good, but it's, like, okay. In Constructed, I think there's better, like, card draw that people are playing already, so I don't think this gets there in Constructed. Eruption's definitely not getting there in Constructed, by the way. Runic Rampage. Troops you control get Gladiator 1. Runic. So, this is actually kind of huge. Because Gladiator 1 can be used as a defensive trick and an offensive trick. Right? Like you could use it to get in for 1 more damage, or if your opponent has, like, sorcery speed removal, like Runic Eruption or whatever, and is dealing damage to your X2s, you're like, Runic Rampage, they have +1 defense permanently, and then it Runics again. I think this is a really good card. I mean, yeah, like, this is a strong pump spell, essentially. Maybe, like, you don't want too many of these, right? Like, you want, like, maybe 1 or 2 copies of this card, but yeah, I think it's good. It's definitely not the same as a combat trick like Off the Chain. Like, Off the Chain is meant for, like, one-shot bursts of, like, winning combat, while Runic Rampage is meant for, like, defending from, like, removal spells and then maybe, like building a strong board, essentially. So yeah. Not going to see any play in constructed. Calling it. Next card is Rush of Victory. Troops you control get momentum too. No? Yeah, the Gladiator is permanent. Yeah, I know. But it is a trick. Like, that's what it does. Anyways, Rush of Victory. Target troop you control gets momentum too. No? Please? No? I don't want this card. This is like Poppy Cakes. Like, no one wants to be playing Poppy Cakes. Sometimes you have to play Poppy Cakes because your deck requires it to get through. Usually you don't want Poppy Cakes. So this is a no for me. This is a bottom tier common. There's no way this sees play in constructed. Would you play this in Big Spider? I would not even play this in Big Spider. Alright. Ruthless Destiny. Summon up to 3 random artifacts with combined cost 10, while the combined attack of all of your guys is 10 or more. This has cost -5. So I think this is the easiest one to, like, the easiest Destiny to achieve in Limited. It's like very easy to get 10 power onto the board. The question is making 3 random artifacts with combined cost 10 good? And I have to assume that it's fine, but like not insane or anything. So I think this card is like limited playable, but I don't think you want it in constructed because that's too much RNG. And I don't know if you can get 10 power on board in constructed as easily. But yeah, this is a sweet limited card. I don't know what artifacts it'll make, but it'll make some sweet ones. Hopefully it makes some sweet Eternals, actually. Yeah. I mean, like, you're not playing this to play it for 7 cost. You're playing this to play it for 2. And I think you can do that reasonably quickly in Limited. Like, you could do it on, like, turn 5 pretty readily. Like on turn 5, you get Venema's champ power, which gives you, like, +4 power, so you just need 6 power on the board, so you have to have, like, 2 troops that have, like, 3 attack, and then you champ power, and then they have 5 attack each, and then you Ruthless Destiny. And you hope you hit, like, sweet Eternals and not garbage cards. So yeah, that's it. Searing Spitfire. This is an actions payoff. It's kind of an underwhelming troop, but it is an elemental and an actions payoff. I think it'll see play as your, like, 1 or 2 5-drop of choice in an actions deck. Like, it turns all your swamp gases into lightning bolt your opponent. You obviously don't want too many of these because they're kind of expensive and they really don't do anything except for shock your opponent's face. If they could, like, hit creatures at all, like, even at random, this would be a fine card for, like an insane card for Limited. But, like, because it can't, it's just, like, an awkward go face burn thing. Like, it'll end the game pretty fast in an actions deck. Like, an actions control deck slams this. It probably doesn't die because there's not a ton of things that kill it. And then you just go, like, spell, 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 and your opponent's like, take 6. Oh, it also doesn't, like, awkwardly not do what you're trying to do, like, the cloud thing. 4-cost, the 4-cost 3/3 flyer that, like, buries 3 whenever you play an action. I think this is much better than that. Because, you know, you're usually not, like, mill actions. No to constructed. Oculus, that's the one. Snarling Huntress, it's 3-cost, 1/1 Gladiator 2, targeting opposing troop, can't block this turn. This is a slightly better version of This is a slightly better version of the 3-cost 3/2 that taps a creature. That's in the core commons. Because it has Gladiator. That's it. Like, it does essentially the same thing as that card, but it also has Gladiator. So, yeah. I mean, it's not a great card, but it has Gladiator. If you need more Gladiator cards, this is a good one. There's no Arena Mutt to, like, pay you off for Ultra Gladiatoring either. So, yeah. Constructed is also a no. Sparky Spine. So this is a 1-cost 1/1 that when you play an action, it becomes a 2-cost or 2-power and gets crush. This card is very bad. Like unless the format like devolves into ultra aggro, which could possibly happen, this card is bad. Like, you don't want 1-drops unless the format is like really hyper aggressive. And this is a 1-drop that doesn't like pay you off in the late game. It pays you off in the early game for playing an action, and then you get to beat down a lot. It is an elemental, which does make it slightly better, but not by a lot. Like you could give it flight with Wings of Wax. Is that the only elemental payoff thing that I remember? It probably is. Anyways, yeah, no, don't play this card. Unless we're super aggressive, then we're gonna play this card all the time. Thunder Wagon. Gladiator, Crush, 6-cost 4/4. Deploy other troops with Gladiator, get +1/+0 and Crush this turn. Hey, if you need to get through, this is your overrun card. Kind of. It's not an exciting one. I don't actually like this card very much. Like, it's an overrun. If your opponent's like flooding the board with like smallish blockers and you just can't get through, like, it's fine giving all your troops Crush, but I'd rather give my troops Crush with like Off the Chain or something. And Off the Chain isn't a 6-cost mediocre troop. Maybe you need this sometimes. It is an okay-ish 6-drop. This card is not very exciting. Also not for Constructed. Tooth and Claw. This is a busted combat trick. Like, what? What? You're just gonna go like, hiya! Your block? It's terrible now. Swift Strike, kill both of your troops. If you ever end up in a situation where you need to block 2 cards, and like you have to, like you can't potentially play around this card, and your opponent has this, you're just gonna lose every time, and it's gonna feel awful. This card is not a fun card to play against. This card is great though. You should take this a lot. This is, I know we've said this a lot, but this is probably the best combat trick in this set. Like, I know we've talked about a lot of, like, really good combat tricks. This is probably the best combat trick in the set. This is gross. This card is gross. It, like, ruins combat on offense and defense. Terrible. Never gonna see play in Constructed, because combat tricks aren't good in Constructed. Trapper Keeper. Gladiator 1. Socketable Miner. When this deals combat damage to an opposing champion, a random troop in your hand gets Gladiator 2. I don't like this card that much. This is like weird. What do I even socket it with? Like, say I'm in the Gladiator deck, right? I'm Ruby Wild or whatever. Do I socket it with Swift Strike? So it's a 2-cost 2/1 Swift Strike? I mean, that's fine. Is it a 2-cost 1/1 Gladiator 2? So it's a 3/1 or a 1/3? That's not great either. Does it make a Blight Blossom when it dies? No. That sounds bad. Does it have Skyguard Swift Strike? Or not Skyguard Swift Strike, Skyguard Steadfast? No, that's also bad. So, like, if you're in blood, you can give it speed, but, like, then you're just playing it to give a troop gladiator to once? That might be okay. I don't know. I don't know what this card is doing. It might be, like, really aggressive, and we might be playing this to make our troops really aggressive and crush our opponents. But yeah, it's kind of underwhelming. You know what's not underwhelming? Volcanic Portal. Deal 5 damage to target troop. At quick speed, create a common portal. So you, like, draw a card too. So, it's like... What is that stupid card called? The, Rune... What is it called? It isn't Runic. It's the, It's the fire card or whatever. Yeah, but, like PSN Envy. That's not even good. You just, like, got Rune Blast. That's it. Like, you got in for 2 damage. Who cares? And one of your troops has Gladiator 2 now. Not at your choice. Like, a random troop in your hand. Volcanic Portal, yeah, sure. Rune Blast is probably better than this, but, like, this draws a card. This draws you 0.7 of a card. I think this is fine. Like the reason why Rune Blast is better is because it costs 2. Enough. But, like, this is for, like, actually controlling your opponent and, like, beating them late game. I think it's fine. It's obviously not great. But you'll play it. Maybe you won't. Maybe you ascribe to the Olivia, like, school of thought where you shouldn't be playing 5 cost plus removal. It draws a card. I think that's fine. It's a really good late game card. If the format's slow enough, you're gonna play all of these that you can get. And then we got Yeti Geddon. Yeti Geddon... I don't know what to think of this card. This card is probably really good with, like, Marsh Pits Troll, where you just go, like, turn my cards into Swamp Gas. Swamp Gas to find my Yeti Geddon. Yeti Geddon. Hiya! And, like, one-shot you with, like, a Runic, Rampage. Like, make all my Yetis not complete garbage. I think it would take a really specific limited deck to play Yeti Geddon. Because if it's like 5 cost make 3 1/1 speeds, that's garbage. I don't know. You would have to have a really specific limited deck. It would have to be more specific than just playing Swamp Butt. Like, you would have to be a deck playing Swamp Butt, but also have other ways of, like, pushing more cards into your graveyard as actions, including, like, Marsh Pits Troll and stuff. It's the anti-mill, but it's not even good as anti-mill, because if your opponent is mill, and, like, you're not an actions deck, Yeti Geddon is also still not good. So yeah. And, like, Baby Yetis aren't good. Yeah. And then the last one is Zealous Templar. This card sucks. It's, like, even bad for its cost. Like, the other ones are, like, mediocre and kind of bad for its cost. This is actively bad for its cost. It is a 4-cost 2/2 speed. No one wants that. No one wants this card. Alright. Moving on to Sapphire. I think Sapphire